What's going on YouTube? I know I haven't made a lot of content lately. I've been really busy, work and whatnot, and my computer also died, so the one that I was editing with, so now I've got another one. I'm going to start editing some content again. But anyway, this is what I'm playing with right now. I've got a week to turn this thing into a running mud truck again. It's a CJ5 fiberglass body on a CJ5 chassis with a Dana 44, a Dana 60 in the back. The front end's geared a little higher than the rear, typical mud truck stuff. And it's got a 4.3 V6 in it, funnily enough. Guy built it for his kid that way. But that 4.3's backed up with a Turbo 400, which came in it. And after I got it, I swapped in a 205 gear case that had a 203 in it. And that allowed me actually to set the motor back because the motor was way too far forward because the 203 is so long. So they hid the motor way out forward to fix it. But it is a diamond in the rough. This thing was $1,500, and I told the guy if it runs and drives on the trailer, we'll buy it. I mean, it's sitting on some decent 39.5 Swampers. It's actually put together all right. I did this drop here to remount the transfer case and whatnot. And then, of course, I had to lengthen out the front drive shaft. The rear drive shaft is basically not. It's just a slip yoke, essentially. But eventually, I'm actually going to slide the rear end back about 8 inches, and I want to stretch the front end out. But I got 7 days before the Union Mud Run, so we're not doing any radical stuff to it. What I do need to do before the Union Mud Run, however, is fix my steering. It broke on me the first time I tried to use it because somebody, me, mounted this steering box too low, not at the right angle, and that joint down there has just got way too much angle to it. It popped out while I was at the mud runs, and now it steers really hard. So I'm going to do 2 things to fix that, actually. I'm going to take the body lift off of this thing because it doesn't need it. You can see there's a mile of clearance around everything. That'll drop it down, which will help that angle out. And then we're actually going to slide the front axle forward about 4 inches by just cutting it right here. Just cut the frame, slug in a piece about 4 inches long, and then move those mounts forward 4 inches. It shouldn't really take more than a couple hours. And that way, down 3, forward 4, that should ease this out, and I'll put a real U-joint here. That one's fine. I'll put a U-joint down here. Should be good to go. On the other stuff, I mean, it already came set up with a racing seat and a harness. I put a second harness in it. My buddy AJ gave me a harness. The rear axle's actually 6 inches narrower than the front. Pretty funny, this thing is, it's got an 84-inch wheelbase, and the front axle, it's 87 inches across the front end. It's actually wider than it is long. So we're fixing that with some 3-inch spacers on both sides. Sorry, not the wider that is long, but we're going to fix the fact that the rear end is 6 inches narrower. And then eventually I'm going to stretch the thing and make it longer than it is wide. But, I mean, came with some pretty decent stuff. Didn't have a fuel cell in it. I put that in. He had a boat gas tank, but the radiator's mounted in the back. I'm going to stick the battery back here. I need to build some sort of a shroud, duck the heat out of this thing, and cover up the radiator in case it pops on me. It didn't have any front brakes. We put some new front brakes on it, and I think I'm going to put a driveline brake on the back of the transfer case. But, I mean, other than that, it's not the worst. Not the worst I've seen. It was cheap. I mean, $1,000 worth of tires on it, so and there it is. Wish me luck. Like I said, I got a week. We're going to see if we can make it work.